This is UMass Sports Weekly.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of UMass Sports Weekly. This is our final episode of the year. It's been a good run so far, but we got a great show to wrap it up. Leading off the show, we're going to talk about the NFL Draft. It's Thursday night, right around the corner. Joining me to do so, to my left, Chris Potomatis. To my right, Adamo Pulzone. Guys, thanks for joining me. So we'll start it off. We'll talk first pick. Chiefs got the first pick in the drafts this year. They're thinking it's consensus right now that it's going to be Luke Joeckel. A lot of talk about that, but the Chiefs have yet to announce that that's going to be their pick. Now, when there's a set first pick, you usually see them get called out so they can start negotiating. So you haven't seen that yet, so they could still make some moves. Chris, I'll start with you. Do you think Joeckel is going to be the first pick?
I think he will be the first pick. I think that he's the best player in the draft right now. The only concern is that you look at the big board, right now there's like 3 offensive tackles that can go top 5, and you wonder if the Chiefs, if they get the right deal, could they move back a couple, still get a very solid offensive tackle, and accumulate a lot of picks in the process. But right now, I think Joeckel right now, best player in the draft. The Chiefs, they have some talent. They traded for Alex Smith. They have actually quite a few Pro Bowl players, new coach. But I think that right now they have to go number 1, Luke Joeckel, offensive tackle, and get that squared away.
Damo, do you agree?
I agree. I mean, it could go 50-50. They could pick Luke Joeckel or they could pick Eric Fisher, but I personally chose Luke Joeckel. I just like his poise. I like the way he handles himself on the field. He doesn't get pushed back. He's a really big guy. I mean, I said if Ronnie Lott ever played offensive tackle, this guy would be how it would be. He doesn't get pushed back. He always ends his blocks with a nice shove. He's aggressive. I like him.
Yeah, he's a real big guy. A lot of talk that he's just really NFL ready to step right into an NFL offense. So it should be interesting to see him. We've got here at the table that we're basically going to see him go first. We'll see how that pans out. Now, this year, as far as the quarterback draft, not nearly the strength we saw last year in the draft. One of the best drafts ever for quarterbacks. Definitely. Especially after the performances some have, like Russell Wilson, who went under the radar compared to some of the greats. So this year, we're not seeing much. Top quarterback right now is Geno Smith out of West Virginia. They got him probably going top 5, but wouldn't be surprised to see him fall, really. Adamo, I'll start with you. Do you think Geno Smith is going to be a good NFL quarterback in the draft?
I think he's going to be a great NFL quarterback in the draft. The only thing, though, I see Matt Barkley going ahead of him. I know it's probably shocking to many people, but the way Matt Barkley plays the Wildcat offense is, I think, superb. I think he's a fast quarterback. He can throw the deep ball. I would go with Matt Barkley over Geno Smith.
All right, Chris, what about you?
I think Smith is the best quarterback in the draft, and that's not saying that. I don't think he will be a great quarterback. I don't think he's the next RG3, Russell Wilson, a guy that can lead a bad team to the playoffs per se. But I think he's a good building block, and I think he's a guy that he'll help you win more games than you lose. I think he'll help the franchise get in the right direction, and I think that sometimes that's what a team needs. He's a piece to the puzzle. I don't think he's the exact answer right now, but I mean, with the fact that in the NFL, being a mobile quarterback helps you a lot right now. You can escape the pocket. You can extend the plays. That's what teams are looking for. The NFL is evolving in that direction. We've seen the pistol offense come alive. So I think Smith kind of is very much indicative, like very much represents what the NFL may go to. And I think when you look at the tape, sometimes like he just wows you with his tape, with his ability, and he throws the ball really well. I think that's an underrated part of the game. As a mobile quarterback, he still is a throw-first quarterback, which is sometimes rare to see. So yeah, I think he is the best quarterback, and if he's in the right system, hopefully he has some success.
Yeah, real strong arm on Geno Smith. A lot of questions about him though coming in this year because we saw him start last year with one of the most ridiculous starts to a college season. I think he was closing on like 28 TDs with no interceptions. His completion percentage was
off the charts.
Yeah, it was insane. But then they went on to lose 6 of the last 8 games with him leading the squad. So a lot of questions there to finish off, not too strong. We'll see how that plays out as well. Another top prospect we're seeing in the draft, D. Milner, top cornerback. A lot of hype about this guy coming out of Alabama. You know, a lot of great players to come out of Alabama. They're saying he's the next NFL great to come from there. A lot of injury problems with him, though.
Yeah.
He's had 5 shoulder surgeries, a lot of look at his shoulder, and there's talk right now that he is not going to make it in time for training camp. So that puts some question marks on him, even though his skill is clearly there. Adamo, do you think that his injuries will affect his draft stock?
Oh, without a doubt, I believe so. When you look at any other cornerback or any other player that came off an injury in their college career, not many of them have really overcame them. They end up getting hurt midway through their career in the NFL, and they just slide down from there. It's all downhill from there. He is quick, though. He's a fantastic cornerback. He can keep up with the wide receiver, no problem. And he's very agile, but injury prone, yes, and it's going to catch up to him in the NFL, definitely.
Chris, do you feel the same way? Do you think his draft stock's going to fall? And if so, where do you think he'll fall?
Well, I still think he's a top 10 pick, and just for the reason that he's the best cornerback in the draft. Now, I don't think number 2 is anywhere even close to him. You know, it's not like we're debating who's the best cornerback in the draft. Is it this guy or that guy? We all know it's D. Milner. And the question is, I guess, if you're an NFL team, is, you know, how bad do you want the cornerback? Are you willing to take a gamble on a guy with injuries, or are you willing to to fill another need with the top 10 pick, which is probably going to be a very talented player right now? So I think that's the biggest question right now. But certainly, I mean, he is by far and away the best cornerback. Mel Kiper's compared him to the next Darrelle Revis, and I mean, if you can get the next Darrelle Revis in a draft, you're going to take him, no matter how many minor surgery he has. So, you know, I think maybe, you know, top 5, top 10, maybe he slips down a little bit, but overall, I think he's definitely a lock for the top 10.
Now, you mentioned Darrelle Revis. We'll touch on that real quick. Just traded to the Bucks from the Jets. Got a, 6-year, I think. 96 million. Pretty insane.
Yeah.
How do you think that trade with the Jets really getting a lot of younger guys, not real solid players, are going to hop right in the roster? How do you think that trade will affect how the Jets draft?
Well, right now they have 2 first-round picks, 9 and 13, and we know that they have a lot of holes to fill in that team. They have offensive needs, they have defensive needs, and I think right now they need all the picks they can get. You know, they got a draft pick next year. It will probably be a 3rd-round pick, but that's not going to help a ton this year. But, you know, hopefully, you know, if they, you know, hit on their top 2 draft picks, they got a couple of key players that can help them get in the right direction. You know, I think they need a lot of help to even get back into the playoff picture. I think it starts with quarterback. It'll be interesting to see if Geno Smith is there at 9 or Matt Barkley is there. You know, do you start to, you know, hear them go after those kind of guys? But, you know, it'll be interesting to see how they go. They have a lot of needs, but there's also some very talented players, so we'll see how it develops.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can rely on Mark Sanchez. There's got to come a point where you got to start bringing in someone.
They have like 5 quarterbacks now, don't they? They signed Garrard. They have Tebow. I mean, it's
so
it's interesting situation.
See him draft
down
another
there.
one. You just never know there. Damo, just to touch on the Patriots real quick. Real famous for, you know, Belichick loves to trade down. Never likes to get the best pick he can get. Always likes to do his maneuvering. Do you think this is another year that the Pats trade down?
Maybe, but if they don't, I definitely think they're going to go with another defensive end to help, you know, match Chandler Jones on the opposite side of the ball, on the opposite side of the line, excuse me. I think they're going to go with Jordan Warner, the defensive end from Florida State. He's 266 pounds, extremely quick off the snap. He's a fantastic player. He's very quick. He can cut very well on the outside. So I think they're going to go with a defensive end, without a doubt. And I think Belichick is going to structure the team defensively for the future. So we'll have a huge defensive line in the next few years, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting draft for the Patriots. You know, they've made a lot of signings with wide receivers, trying to get them worked in this offense. But now you got the injuries to both of your tight ends.
Yeah.
You got Ballard, who they signed last year, so there's someone to come in. But you know that really does affect their draft, I feel like, a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. Draft is Thursday night. Be sure to check it out. Guys, thanks for joining me and discussing it here. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly. Now joining me at the table to talk a little NBA. To my right, Chris Corso, and to my left, Mike Kondo. Guys, thanks for joining me. Now, playoffs. Playoffs? Playoffs. Already started. Tonight we got Celtics. Let's talk Celtics Knicks first while we got the Celtics and Knicks up here, you know what I mean? So we already got Knicks up 1-0 in this playoff series. Second game tonight in New York. Then we go 3 to Boston. 2 more if it needs be in New York. Chris, I'll start with you. Who do you got in this series? But first off, answer first. Who do you got tonight?
Tonight I'm going to have to take the Knicks. I'm sorry, Celtics fans. I think that the Knicks are a little too overpowering for the Celtics team, especially a team that scored 8 points in the fourth quarter of the game.
Lowest in history.
Of the last game, which was a little bit of depressing for Celtics fans around here. But being serious, I think the Knicks just have too much when it comes to a full team, a bench that has the most production in the NBA with the 6th man of the year, J.R. Smith, leading there. And they just got Pablo Prigioni back to kind of give him a spell and start at the shooting guard position tonight. So I think that this Knicks team, behind Carmelo Anthony, who did not play well at all, shot 5 for 20 in that stint between the second quarter and the third quarter in the game the other day. And I think if he starts to pick it up and they start to move the ball around a little more, get more of the shooters involved. Steve Novak didn't even attempt a 3 in the game the other day. So I think when this team starts to settle down and gets into their zone, they have home court. If it was in Boston, it would be a little bit of a different situation. But I think the home court and having everybody healthy and everybody back, I think the Knicks are going to take this one at home.
Now, you mentioned J.R. Smith, just named 6th man of the year. And you also mentioned Prigioni. He's coming back. Mm-hmm. He's going to be taking a lot of minutes from J.R. Smith, some valuable minutes that he's been putting up some big points. How's that going to affect the Knicks negatively?
Well, during the Knicks 13-game winning streak, or how many games it was Pablo Prigioni that was in the starting lineup, and he was the one who would give J.R. a spell when he was not shooting well or when he got a little out of hand, as we all know J.R. Smith can do. So I think Prigioni is going to be nothing but a positive factor. He doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't take wild shots. He moves the ball around. I think he kind of gets the offense flowing, especially you didn't see the offense flowing in Game 1. So I think that's the factor that Prigioni provides to this offense. I think he's just a guy who's going to get the ball moving around. He's going to knock down an open 3, and he's just an overall team player, and he's really an X factor. I think.
Yes, I really like Prigioni's minutes on this team, specifically because, like you said, he's just going to move the ball. They got guys like Jason Kidd, Prigioni, even Raymond Felton, not afraid to move the ball. We got all those shooters. You got Anthony, J.R. Smith, Steve Novak. Even Shumpert can knock them down. This team's going to make their threes, and when you got people moving the ball and they're knocking down their threes, they could be anyone in the NBA.
Yep.
That's his job, Prigioni. That's why he's in the starting lineup. You wouldn't see this guy starting for any other reason. He doesn't have any overpowering ability or any overpowering skills. So I think Prigioni is the guy that really directs this offense.
Starting tonight in the lineup. We'll see how that works out for the Knicks. Now, Mike, I'm going to get to you first. Same question I asked Chris. Who do you got tonight winning, and who do you got winning the series?
Not only do I have the Knicks winning tonight, but I definitely have them winning this series. Now, you know that saying, Father Time is undefeated. And the Celtics fought them off as long as they could. But unfortunately, Father Time has come, and it has come hard on the Celtics. I mean, Paul Pierce, not the scorer he once was. Kevin Garnett, not the scorer he once was. Probably not the defender he once was either. I mean, Kevin Garnett had a real tough game in Game 1. Paul Pierce played well, but they're relying a lot on Jeff Green. Very young player, 26 years old, has a lot of potential. But he's not the player that they need him to be at this stage in the season. I mean, they really rely on him a lot. He's gonna get those points. But man, the Knicks just have way too much firepower for this Boston Celtics team. They cannot score with the Knicks for 48 minutes. Just can't do it.
And I think when it comes to the Celtics, things they got to do, Kevin Garnett has to really go at Tyson Chandler in this game and throughout the series. Everybody knows he has the injured neck. And if he goes at Tyson Chandler, all the Knicks have left, that's the one weakness. They only have Kenyon Martin. They don't have any other big guys besides Copeland, who is really not a center or power forward. He's more of a shooter. So if they go at Tyson Chandler, get him in foul trouble, you know he's injured, so maybe get him in some pain. And all they got to do is contest the three-point shooters when it comes to the Knicks. And when it comes to that, I think that's how the Celtics can stop the Knicks. And they're going to have to get more bench production from their bench because all the pressure is falling on Jeff Green, who is a great player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's a leading scorer for a team. So, and Pierce is getting older now. He's doing all he can. Don't get me wrong. He's still playing unreal.
Still the truth.
Still the truth. So, but you can't put all the pressure on these two guys. You need the bench to, just like the Knicks. The bench is what separates the Knicks from other teams, and the Celtics are going to need that bench production for the rest of the series if they want a chance of winning.
Yeah, a lot of that pressure was really planned on being relieved by Jason Terry. They thought they had that well-planned ad in signing Jason Terry, and he has just not performed for the Celtics like they thought he was going to. Not been the shooter.
0 points in game 1. In
Nothing,
20
exactly.
minutes, that cannot happen. That's just embarrassing.
And that
honestly.
dunk
That
he
is
went up
embarrassing.
for was a little embarrassing.
It's
swatted by Kenyon Martin.
Just, as you can see, just a lot of embarrassment.
Speaking of
coming out
Kenyon Martin,
Jason
some of
Terry.
the minutes he's playing for the Knicks are really key. You talked about getting Tyson Chandler in foul trouble. But not the worst thing in the world for the Knicks because, man, Kenyon Martin's coming in. If he's going to use all of his fouls, you best believe it. Kenyon Martin's going to come in there and he's going to bang.
True.
You know, and he's really causing problems down low, rebounding, playing great defense, and that's exactly what the Knicks need right now.
Yep, real interesting series we got going on here. Still time to see if someone like Terry will step up. You know, we're only 1 game in. Guys like Kmart aren't stepping up, so it's going to be real back and forth. We'll see how it plays out. Now, moving out west, seeing the constant drama with the Lakers carry over into the playoffs now. We talked about it last week. Brutal Achilles injury to Kobe. Won't be playing for quite some time. But he's taken to Twitter for these playoff games, and he's making a lot of noise. D'Antoni's not too happy about it, and he's out there calling Kobe a fan. Well, you got Phil Jackson on Twitter talking to Kobe and agreeing with him and helping work through it. What do you guys think this means for the Lakers? Chris, I'll start with you. As not just for the playoffs, but as far as D'Antoni's future, Kobe coming back with them, just that drama in L.A.
I think Kobe just always needs to feel like he's a part of the action. And right now he's got to sit back and watch, and I think that's what he should do. I mean, some of the comments he made on Twitter were okay, but once he started making comments about how great of a player Tim Duncan is and really starting to criticize his teammates, he's got to sit back and just maybe even sit on the sidelines. Why is he not on the side? I'd be on the sidelines with my team. I don't know. I wouldn't be commenting and hiding behind Twitter. I'd be on the sidelines telling them what to do there. I would not be sitting in my den and getting all the media attention. So, and when it comes to D'Antoni, I hate D'Antoni. I hate D'Antoni. I think he is the most overrated coach. He had a great team in Phoenix. He had Steve Nash. He had Amari Stoudemire. He had the players for that offense. But as Amari Stoudemire has said this year, he was not taught any defense last year by D'Antoni. And now that Mike Woodson came in, a defensive-minded coach, look what the team's done this year. And I just think D'Antoni is he doesn't have control over his players, as you see with Kobe Bryant, Ron Artest, Dwight Howard, not Ron Artest, Metta World Peace, Dwight Howard. They're all princesses out there making drama, and it's all just distractions in the end. The Knicks had those distractions last year, and now these guys got all the distractions. And you see Carmelo playing defense now. You see other guys playing defense on that Knicks team. D'Antoni does not enforce that with his team. It all comes down to that fast-paced offense, which clearly the Lakers are not built to run because they're way too old to run that fast-paced offense. So I think D'Antoni is going to go when it comes to the Lakers. And why don't they get Phil Jackson though?
You're absolutely right, man. D'Antoni needs to be on his way out. Now, you talk about Kobe's tweets. Listen, Kobe's tweets probably shouldn't be tweeting, I agree with you. But if you look at him, some of them, 100% right. He tweeted one time, post, throw the ball in the post. D'Antoni, probably the most stubborn man on the planet, somehow has Paul Gasol playing at the high post, catching the ball, foul line extended. Listen, you got 2 7-footers. You park them down in the paint, and you let them go to work. Your only advantage on the Spurs. Yes, the only advantage on the Spurs. Paul Gasol, he was playing in the low post when Kobe was there, had a stretch of 2 triple-doubles in 3 games. One of the games Kobe was there, one of them he wasn't. But, man, Paul Gasol's playing great basketball. Give him the ball where he's most effective. Don't put him out there shooting jumpers all game. That is no way to win. Mike D'Antoni is a terrible head coach. I hate to say it. Great offensive mind, not a head coach. Not someone I want leading my team. So I'm pretty disgusted with it. Calling him a fan.
Yeah, that's
a 5-time
we could have a
champion.
segment. We could have a whole segment about that.
Win a ring before you call Kobe a fan. I mean, instead of doing that posting you were talking about, which is what they should be doing, he's got Stephen Blake taking 15, 20 shots. Stephen Blake is not a Kobe Bryant. He's not a shooting. He's playing Stephen Blake at shooting guard like he's one of the main offensive targets on the team. Instead of pushing the ball down low, you got Dwight Howard, Paul Gasol, two perennial all-star forwards and centers. I don't get why you don't get these. They didn't even touch the ball that much unless it was on rebounds or. They were shooting. You saw Dwight Howard shoot a couple elbow jumpers.
Started off the game. He had 2 jumpers to start off the game.
You can't hit free throws. Why are you shooting an elbow jumper?
Threw my TV out the window. It is terrible.
It's very, very, very confusing when you see something like that. Dwight Howard shooting jump shots. Now, you mentioned the Twitter. Now, Kobe was pretty accurate because once they really started following what he was saying in his tweets, they started having a little more success. We saw some Gasol, the Dwight oops, some stuff like that. Do you think D'Antoni's stubbornness in really adapting to what Kobe is saying on Twitter comes with the fact that it's coming from Kobe on Twitter, and he's trying to prove that this is my team and I'm not listening to Kobe?
You're 100% right. Mike D'Antoni, he probably almost feels threatened because Kobe is a bigger face of the team than Mike D'Antoni is, and he's not even in the building when they're playing anymore. And Mike D'Antoni, deep down, probably hates that. So I think he probably feels a little pressure for his job as well because, when they were doing the Shaq, the jersey ceremony, the fans were chanting, "We want Phil," when Mike D'Antoni was in the locker room. I mean, he has to feel a little threatened for his job, especially if they perform awful in this first round, which in the first game they really didn't look good, and a lot of that was coaching.
Yeah, it certainly has not been the Lakers' year, and we're going to see how that continues to play out in this playoff series and into the summer. I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about it. Now, to finish off, quick mention with the Heat. Real strong performance against the Bucks. They're still, as we know, looking like the best team in the NBA, blah, 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 blah. Thunder, playing some really good basketball, though. Probably one of the biggest threats to the Heat right now. Just as athletic, just as quick, just without LeBron is basically what it comes down to. Durant, though, 7-footer scorer. Do you think that the Thunder can beat the Heat in a 7-game series?
Listen, I don't think they can beat the Heat in a 7-game series. I don't think they will. But I heard a quote from Kevin Durant pretty recently. He's made this quote the other day saying he's tired of being second. And you just think of Kevin Durant, one of the all-time great scorers. What does he mean he's second? Man, he said he was second in high school. He said he was second in the draft. He was second in MVP voting, second in the finals last year. And he said he's tired of it. Now, this is a Kevin Durant. Most people think real nice guys. Kevin Durant, I probably haven't seen before. This is what I want to see from Kevin Durant. And I think if this is Kevin Durant, if he's coming in on a mission to beat the Heat, I think maybe we should give the Thunder a little more credit, give them a better chance than most people are.
Chris, what about you? Do you see that possibility happening?
I think the Thunder have a shot this year to beat the Heat. I think they're a well-balanced team. They're the only team who really looked dominant in their first game. Even the Heat didn't look so dominant against the Bucks in their first game. That was a close game into the third quarter and even a little bit in the fourth. They looked dominant from tip-off to the end of the game. They completely dominated a Houston Rockets team that was expected by analysts that they were going to come up with the upset in the series.
A much better team than the Heat are playing.
That is a much better team than the Bucks. Yeah. I think that they totally showed what they're capable of with their offense. Literally, we're just beating them down the floor every time, throwing alley-oops. They have that transition, fast-paced offense that I think can actually kind of match up well against the Heat. Plus, they have the size that the Heat don't have. They have the best shot blocker in the NBA in Serge Ibaka and Kendrick Perkins down there. So I think when it comes to size and a fast-paced offense, I think they could do it.
Yeah, and we know the Bucks, like you said, they didn't win. But I think their fast guard play really exposed something in the Heat, that some quick guards. And we know that the Thunder have some really quick guards on that team. So some good matchups here to come out in the playoffs. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Of course.
We'll be here watching the playoffs, and stay tuned. We'll be right back to talk some NHL. Welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly. Joining me now at the table to talk a little NHL, to my right, Nick Kanellis, and to my left, Tony Bolduc. Guys, thanks for joining me. Playoffs. Playoffs right around the corner for the NHL. Everyone's getting real excited around the offices. Got to start talking about the Bruins now. Been playing some good hockey. Started off playing some better hockey, but have been playing some good hockey. Right at the top of the division with the Canadiens, neck and neck right now. Coming close to the end of the season. Tony, I'll start with you. How do you think the Bruins finish off this season and going into the playoffs?
I think they'll have the number 2 seed in the East because they have the one more game. They have 4 games left, and the Canadiens only have 3 games left. So that's a huge advantage because if you get points in one game and the Canadiens don't, then that's just you got an advantage. 59. They both had 59 points right now. So I just think that the Bruins. I don't know if they're better than the Canadiens. I think they're pretty evenly matched teams. But I think that having the extra game, they'll definitely end up getting in. They'll end up winning the division.
Nick, do you agree? You think they're going to take the division?
I'm not so certain. The Bruins have been questionable at best lately. They've been a little inconsistent. You can say that they've been playing well, but also they just played the Florida Panthers, which I think just about anybody could get a confidence boost playing the Panthers. I think the Bruins, they're a little inconsistent, they're a little banged up, and I think that just the fact of the matter is they may have the game in hand, but there's no telling that they're actually going to win that game. They got a few decent tests down the stretch with a hot Washington team. I understand the Flyers aren't very good, but they always play tough games against the Flyers. And plus, I mean, Montreal has that tiebreaker that could end up really being the difference maker on the final day of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tight finish, but exciting to watch because when you get 2 rivals like this finishing the regular season and then going into the playoffs, it's only building up more animosity for the playoffs. Now, you don't necessarily see them winning the division, but they're in the playoffs.
That's all that matters.
We know, that's all that matters. Brand new season. Brand new season. Now, Bruins are a good playoff team. On paper, they're a good playoff team. They got a really deep roster right now with a lot of experience. But their roster just has not been playing up to their capabilities. You got guys like Milan Lucic, who had a span of, I think, 3 goals in about 40 games. It was just not his production. How do you see their success in the playoffs?
It's a little concerning, to be honest with you. I mean, you look at the past 5 playoff runs, only once they made it past the second round. And that was the year they made the Stanley Cup Finals and won it all on the back of Mr. Tim Thomas, who is not there anymore. So basically what I'm saying is I'd be very surprised if they make it any further than the second round. If my prediction holds true and they end up with the 4 seed, I can't see them having any problem with Toronto. But there's just so many inconsistencies on this team. I mean, for one, like you said, Milan Lucic just can't show up in the playoffs. He never does, and it's a problem. And I mean, even back in the year they won the Cup, he was a 30-goal scorer in the regular season, and he couldn't get it done in the playoffs. Who knows with Nathan Horton, because clearly he's going to get himself into a fight, get himself hurt. Who knows what he's going to be like when he gets in there. And, I mean, Krejci, he had a terrible postseason last year. Granted, it was only 7 games, but, I mean, if that's supposed to be your regular top line, which, I mean, we can all assume, barring any crazy circumstances, that is likely to be the case, that is going to be a problem. Now, again, you obviously have some of those mainstays like Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, and Tyler Seguin, who have typically been pretty good. But the problem with that is we don't know what's going on with Bergeron. He just came off the concussion, and for some reason Claude Julien likes to undervalue Tyler Seguin and play him on the third line, which completely puzzles me because he has the potential. On any other roster, he could be a 30-goal scorer every single year. But on this Bruins team, where it's all about playing both ways and going defense first, you can't win games 0-0. And as long as these trends keep on going, and don't even get me started on their defensive deficiencies, because Andrew Ference is a headache all in himself. So
I think you're undermining the Bruins. I think they're sitting at the 2 seed for a reason. I think they're. I mean, I agree with you. They haven't been scoring much. They haven't. But at the same time, I just feel like they win games. They have some of the players they have, like Bergeron and Seguin, like you said. They have the plus minuses because they play so defensively, and they let up least few amount of goals because of the way they play defensively. But I agree with you. Can't win 0-0. But at the same time, I feel like the way that they might set up the lines, they might switch it up because the way Lucic just played all year, he has 5 goals. Like, you're not going to put him on your first line. You might as well have Thornton on your first line, and he has like 3 goals. I mean, you should stick Lucic on the 3rd or 4th line, take up Jágr, put Jágr up there in the first line, have him do what Lucic is doing, and I just feel like you'd get more production that way, and I feel like they would make a huge run in the playoffs if, like, they did switch up the lines a little bit, because I feel like Chiarelli's messed with every line except for the first line. And the first line has not done that good. You were just saying that. You're right. I agree with that. The first line hasn't been as what he makes them out to be. It's just, I think if he switches up the line, I think he's going to have to, because he's going to realize in these next 4 games against the decent teams, against the Capitals and the Senators, who both have good goaltenders, he's going to see that, all right, our lines might not be working. We might not be scoring the puck as well. They might make some adjustments and then try and figure it out. But I think that sitting in the 2 seed, I think we have a good chance of making a run.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys have mentioned about the lines. I think as of late, we have seen, in my opinion, we have seen some pretty crazy combinations of lines going on, a lot of mixing and matching. There was a few game stretch where they did not keep any line the same. There was a game you saw Lucic on the 4th line. You're seeing Greg Campbell come center the 2nd line and play. So I think they are making moves. I think they're trying to find their lines for the playoffs, because I think they're only real. But you even mentioned the Seguin move. That kind of puzzled me too, but I also think he's trying to send a message to Seguin in that, because he hasn't been performing. He hasn't been performing like they need him to.
I mean, the thing that concerns me about Claude Julien is he likes, for some reason, he likes to give everybody equal playing times. He thinks this is like Pee Wee League or something where everybody's going to play the same, or you're going to get some angry parents. These guys are professionals, and if you're not performing up to par, then you don't deserve to be playing 20 minutes a night. And let's face it, I'm sorry, I think Sean Thornton's awesome. He's great. He's great. He brings energy. He gets into fights. I mean, he does everything you want him to do, but you shouldn't be playing him 20 minutes.
Yeah, they do. 4th line does get now. That's not to knock their 4th line. It's probably one of the best 4th lines in the NHL, but should not be getting the ice time. Again, get those young guys out there that have the legs now that should get them. But I think we will see those adjustments into the playoffs. I think we'll see the 4th line get cut down. I think we'll see solid lines. And I think we'll see guys like Bergeron, Seguin, Marchand, hopefully Lucic, Horton, those guys stepping up in the playoffs as they move on. If not, you're not going to see much success out of these Bruins. Now, Bruins are at the top during the playoffs. Teams at the bottom, there's a real mix and match going on right now that you don't really know who's going to make it into this league, into the playoffs, So we'll start with the Eastern Conference. Tony, I'll start with you. Who do you got for your bottom 4 making into the playoffs?
It's crazy because there's so many teams that you would never expect this year because of I think it has to do with the shortened season, definitely. But
Absolutely.
There's the teams in the East right now, 6 through 9, as of now. The Islanders have 53 points. The Rangers have 52 points. The Senators have 52 points, and the Jets have 51. So that's up in the air. I think that what's going to happen is I think it's going to stay as it stands. I think the Jets will be out. I think that if any team does collapse and loses their seed, which they're at the 6th seed now, and they could come down to the 9 seed or 8 seed in no time, is the Islanders. They are not a very good team. They were down at the bottom of the league earlier, and I just think they've made a decent run at the end. But I just think that their team's not as good as a 6 seed, definitely. And like if I was a 4 seed, I'm praying to God that they stay there in the 6 seed, because if I got the Islanders in the first round, that's a good.
Oh, I'm sure
that's a
every
good team
team's
to
open
face.
for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that we'll have the Rangers. I think they'll move up to the 6th seed. I think the Senators and the Jets will be 7 and 8.
You got the Jets in there too?
I can't see the Jets getting in there, to be honest. I think Washington's going to hold strong, and we're going to have the Capitals going in and taking their division. I think that division's just so poor.
Yeah.
I just can't see any other team from that division making it in.
Yep. Now, moving over to the West Coast, a little more interesting on the West Coast. Now, the Jets are right in there, so that keeps it interesting. But in the West Coast, we got the Red Wings at 9 right now.
Yeah,
and the Red Wings don't miss the playoffs. It's just they don't miss the playoffs. That's how it is.
21 straight years.
21 straight
Crazy.
years. I couldn't pull that stat up, but that's just how it is. They don't miss the playoffs. Playoffs are nothing without the Red Wings. But right now, they're not in the playoffs. Do the Red Wings make the playoffs?
Absolutely. Honestly, like, I'm still a young boy. I can't imagine an NHL playoffs without the Red Wings. And plus, the Blue Jackets are the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, that's what I was
I'm
saying.
sorry, but this 8 seed is an aberration.
Just like the Red Wings make the playoffs, the Blue Jackets don't make the playoffs.
Exactly. It's just how the world works right now. It's just that simple. And if you can't accept that, then clearly you're a little screwed up. But To be honest with you, no. I just think the Red Wings have too much talent. Yes, they're a little older, and yeah, they're kind of transitioning right now, trying to move on to that next phase, because obviously those dynasty eras that they had, both in the 90s, and you could also argue there was a little bit of one in the 2000s. It's obviously not the same. But the Blue Jackets are not very good, and I honestly think they're just a product of a shortened season. They're kind of getting hot at the right time, which is a little unusual to think about, because usually this is only about the halfway point of the season, and then by about the trade deadline, they start to play like themselves. They're sellers, but it's just been a weird year.
It has. The shortened year will definitely make it weird, especially for those older teams. Tony, same thing. You see the Red Wings in there?
Yeah, their team's just too good. Like, you look at their players, they have Zetterberg, they have Datsuk, they have Howard at their goalie. Like,
how are they a 9 seed?
How are they a 9 seed?
Exactly.
They've definitely underachieved this year. They're an older team, a veteran team, which I think when they do make the playoffs, they could make a decent run even. And it's just like, I looked at this earlier, and I was just like, I was shocked when I saw the Islanders at the 6 seed and the Blue Jackets at the 8 seed. Like, where did they come from? They were two of the worst teams in the league last year.
It's unbelievable.
That's my favorite thing about hockey too, though, because any team can win at any time, especially with the playoffs. The NHL playoffs are the best. You get an 8 seed winning last year. When do you see that happen in any other sport?
Right. You don't. I mean, it's funny, though, that you think about it. You make that point, and now I know one of the guys actually in the studio right now on camera asked to mention the Celtics. I won't drop any names. But, I mean, you think about, like, the Celtics, for example. Look at the last 2 years, how long it's taken them to get going. But they had a full 82-game season and the 66 last year. 48 games isn't a lot of time for an older team to get going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll catch fire at the right time.
They definitely have playoff experience.
They do. They'll be ready for it, and it can be different for an older team going into the playoffs. That, I mean, even if they're just sneaking in, they're getting in there with much fresher legs than they're used to being in playoff games. So it's
That's
gonna,
very true. 42 games.
Yeah. So it will be interesting to see the Red Wings. They're probably gonna start getting hot. And I mean, Red Wings with an 8 seed could surprise a lot of people. You know, taking on
Chicago's definitely hoping.
They definitely don't want to see them.
They'd probably rather see the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, that'd be definitely. That'd be a pretty interesting first round matchup. Red Wings, Chicago. So
That'd probably be sweet.
We'll see how that plays out.
Get the brooms out.
Yeah, exactly. Now going on to some more matchups. We talked about the Bruins earlier, battling the Canadians right now at the top of the division. That's always a very possible and very exciting playoff matchup. We've seen it the last couple of years.
Even if we don't win, that's the most entertaining
So
hockey you can find.
first, I remember when you say that, I remember when the Bruins won the Stanley Cup during that Canadian series. I said to myself, I don't even care if they win the cup, just make sure they win this series.
Yeah.
They got to beat the Canadians.
That was probably the most exciting series.
Absolutely. Oh, it was unreal. So actually, I'll start with you. Do you think that series will happen again? And if so, how do you think it'll play out?
I think if they do end up running into each other, it could be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think that's the only way.
Yeah.
Because they'd be the 2 seed and the 4 seed, so they both have pretty high seeds. But if they did end up playing each other, like I said earlier, they're pretty evenly matched teams. It's tough. I mean, the Canadians did win 3 out of 4 games against the Bruins this year, but at the same time, it's gonna be coming down to veteran play. I think that the Bruins will have more will and drive than the Canadians do. I just feel like the Canadians they have a good squad. They do, but I just think that the Bruins are a little bit better than them.
Nick, how do you feel?
Now, I obviously made the prediction that the Bruins won't get out of the second round, but
Speculation.
Yeah, exactly.
Speculation.
But if they ended up somehow making the Eastern Conference Finals and playing the Canadians, now really I honestly think it comes down to home ice.
Mm-hmm.
That's
very true.
And if you have to play Game 7 in Montreal, that's
tough.
really,
That is really tough.
Or
hard.
Game 7 in Boston is.
Game
just
7
as
in
tough.
Boston is
It's
just as
either way.
tough. But I mean, you look at how things went this year. It almost seemed like if really all the games could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really what it all came down to is just execution late in the game. The Bruins kind of faltered late, especially in that one game in Boston that came down to a shootout.
Yeah.
Then you could also make the argument that in the playoffs, the game's not going to come down to a shootout. Yeah. And that may play to the Bruins in the Bruins' favor, but in all reality, I think it's going to be a 7-game series if it happens, and it's going to be the home team. And if my prediction, again, holds true about the standings at the end of the season, that means Montreal will have the upper hand playing at home.
Well, let's hope that series happens because it's always fun to watch. But just like always in the NHL playoffs, it's really going to come down to goaltending. So we'll see how it plays out. Guys, thanks for joining me. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back to talk everyone's favorite UMass athletics. Welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly. Now joining me at the table to talk everyone's favorite UMass athletics. To my left, JMS Jesse Mayfield Sheehan. And to my right, Mark the Shark Daly. Guys, thanks for joining me. Now, we got to start off talking about lacrosse. Women's lacrosse team, #1 seed in the A10 tournament. Now, that's big stuff. We love seeing #1 seeds coming out of UMass no matter what the sport. Jesse, I'll start with you. How do you see this team doing in the tournament?
Well, Casey, like you said, they're the #1 seed, and we've been talking about it all year. They have been dominant throughout this season. They've only lost 2 games in the entire year, and one of them was to the #1 team, Northwestern. So they've had a pretty good season, to say the least. But, you look at these playoffs, you look at the kind of teams they're going to face. First round, they're going up against George Washington. That was a team that they only managed to beat by 1 goal, so could be a tough matchup. And then in the second round, assuming they beat George Washington, they'll be going up against either Temple or Duquesne. And Temple, another team that they had a close call against, only managed to beat them by 2 goals by a score of 12-10. But Duquesne, they just took on in their last game of the season and beat them by a handy score of 16-6. So, these are all teams that they've already beaten in the season, and, they're tops in most every stat in the A10, tops in goals per game, tops in goals allowed per game. It's pretty simple to say they are the top team in the A10, hands down. So, it's pretty logical to predict that they'll win the A10 tournament, fingers crossed from all of us here at UMass, but it's pretty easy to say, to predict that they'll win the championship. I'm not psychic, but odds are they're going to win.
Seems pretty obvious. Mark, do you feel the same way? You think they're going to walk right through?
I hope so. I think, as Jesse pointed out, there are a lot of they have the team to do it, without a question. You look at Katie Ferris, Sam Rush. They just have a fantastic team. They really work together. Coming into, they play 7-0 in the conference so far this season. Just a couple more games left. They start up Friday at home, and that's one of the biggest things. The whole tournament, the A10 tournament, is being hosted at UMass. Both of their losses this season came on the road. They're undefeated at home. That I think only helps them in their advantage to win in the A10 tournament. And I think also history is on UMass's side. They've won 3 straight A10 tournaments. If they win this year, it would be the 5th for the UMass lacrosse program, and that would set an all-time A10 record for the most conference wins. They have that going for them. Katie Ferris, just a couple weeks ago, broke the all-time record for UMass in points for the UMass women's lacrosse team. Sam Rush, a couple weeks ago as well, broke the 100-point mark, scoring her 100th point of the season, of her career, And I think history's on their side, and the fact that they're playing at home, they've proven that they can win at home, and I think this is the time they're going to do it. I definitely have faith that they're going to.
Yeah, and like you said, with Katie Ferris and Sam Rush both reaching such milestones, I think with that behind them, I think, some of the pressure's a little off from reaching those milestones. So I think, without a doubt, you're going to see some great production from them in the A10 tournament.
Yeah, we'll see if their domination from the regular season carries over to the playoffs, as we hope it will. Now, moving on to men's lacrosse. Not the same story in the men's lacrosse as it is over on the women's side. Men's lacrosse is down to their final game of the regular season, and they are just barely holding on to playoff hopes. Jesse, do you think they're going to make the CAA tourney?
Well, it's going to be tough, Casey, but there is still a legitimate chance that they could make the CAA tournament. Now, in order to do it, here's how it's going to have to work. The UMass team is going to have to defeat Delaware in their final game, and then the Hofstra team, which UMass just beat in their most recent game 9-8, is going to have to lose to Penn State, which is the top team in the CAA, and is also ranked number 8 in the country. And then St. Joseph's, who has a worse record than UMass, but has the tie break with them. So if they won, then they'd take the 4th seed from them. St. Joe's also has to lose, and their last conference game is against Towson, who currently has a better record than them. So you got 2 teams who have to lose, who are playing against better teams. And then you got UMass, who is playing against a worse team, who has to win. So you got a pretty conceivable chance. I mean, you sort of feel uneasy when you look at, 3 different things have to happen in order for a team to make the playoffs, but these are 3 very possible, things that could happen. So it's a very possible scenario that they could end up in the playoffs.
Mark, do you see those possibilities all coming together for UMass? And if so, what kind of success do you see them having in the tournament?
Well, I know, Justin, it's very, very difficult to determine whether or not. There's a lot of things have to come together for that to happen. But I think that there is the possibility. I think on UMass's end, everything they can control, they will do. They will take part. And I really have to go back to the Hofstra game that you talked about recently. The game was tied 8-8 with less than 10 seconds to go. Assistant coach calls a timeout for UMass. They come back, they create a play, and they score and win right as in the final seconds of the game. They end up winning 9-8. And that's the motivation I think that they're going to build from for going forward. I see them winning in senior night on Friday night down at down at the
Garver Field.
Yeah, Garver Field. Excuse me. I see them winning that game. It's senior night. Everyone comes out for that game. And I think that motivation that they have from this past game, where it was they didn't play well in the first half, they scored a bunch of goals in the second half to make it a good game. They ended up coming back, tying it, and then to go ahead with less than 10 seconds to go in the game. I think that's the motivation they need going forward. And I think they're going to build on that. Talking about senior night, if they both for Friday night's game, it's a must-win for UMass. No questions about it. Must win. They also play. If everything works out, they make it into the playoffs. I think they have a possibility. I don't think they're going to win it this year like they did last year. You look at they're definitely not last year's team. They lost a lot of players. They're definitely not number 1 team in the country as they were last year. But I think if they're going to make a run, you really need to see the seniors step up this year. Between injuries that they've had all season long, the seniors have not really stepped up, played to what they're capable of, played the way they have played for the UMass men's lacrosse program in the past. Particularly Will Manny. I give it to him. I give the fact that he was injured for a majority of the season. Colin Fleming, Kyle Smith, they've played well, but they haven't lived up to their potential in their this season so far. And if they're going to make a run, these guys have to step up. The underclassmen have been playing very well. Really unexpected. Matt Whippen stepped up huge this year for the junior attack and midfielder. And then Grant Whiteway, fantastic, phenomenal as a sophomore, really helped the team get where they are. But they're going to really need to depend on the seniors, and the seniors are going to have to make a run if they want to see this happen.
Well, let's hope all those things fall into place so they can try to make that run going into the playoffs. Moving over to the Diamond now, softball team just got swept on Sunday by George Washington in a doubleheader. Rough 2 games for them there. Jesse, I'll start with you. What do you take from these games?
Well, Casey, like you said, tough losses. I mean, UMass is going into those games with a 7-game winning streak. They come out with a 2-game losing streak. It's the first losing streak they've had since their first conference game against Dayton all the way back in March. So, it's certainly a tough couple of losses to take. And what we really saw in this game was the UMass offense that we've been seeing throughout past few weeks just wasn't there. They were completely shut out through the first 6 innings of the first game, only scored those 3 in the final inning in an attempted comeback. And in the second game, completely shut out. And so the offense just wasn't there. The George Washington pitchers did a very good job keeping the UMass offense at bay, and it really shows. I mean, we've been watching throughout the season that they've really managed to hit well, again, no matter who the opponent was, but this really shows that, some teams can hold off that offense. They can't count, I've said this before, they cannot count on the offense to win every single game. So the pitching is going to have to step up. Now, there was one bright spot we got from this game, which was Emma Mendoker finally returned, her first game since March 30th, which adds a little depth to the pitching rotation. She wasn't the strongest pitcher before she left, but now that she's back, I think she adds a little depth, and it gives a little backup to Caroline Raymond, who's been doing pretty good pitching on her own for a while. So I think with her back, gives a little help on the pitching side.
Now, following up that game, 7-game road trip now. What, Mark, after these 2 losses on Sunday, what do you see for them for the 7-game road trip? How do they have to adjust?
Well, it's going to be tough. On the season, they're 6-16 when not playing in Amherst, and that's a really scary factor that and just shows how important that home is. Playing at home is for the UMass softball team. But when you look at who they're playing on this 7-game road trip, you got 2 games against St. Joe's, who's number 1 in the A10, and you got UMass is currently in 4th. And then you have they're playing 2 games against Temple, who is currently 5th, just 1 game behind in the standings. And it's going to be really tough. Jesse mentioned how the offense really needs to step up. They got shut out in the last game. I believe they got skunked. I don't think they played the whole game.
Mercy Rule win in the second.
In the second game, 8-0. And I think offense has to step up. But I think we're really starting to see one of the problems that's been questions they've had all year is that question of pitching. You talked about Emma Mendoker coming back, and they also have Caroline Raymond, who they've really depended on for the entire season. But that's definitely one issue that they have to. The pitching is an issue that they have to figure out going forward. I mean, if you go back to what they at this time last season, Sarah Plord, phenomenal, one of the best UMass softball players to ever come through UMass. She's playing professional right now, but she played unbelievable, and with that inexperience that the pitchers have right now, I think it's just going to take time, and maybe it's not meant to be this year, but for this road trip, those pitchers really need to step up, and going forward the rest of the season, they really got to step up. I mean, if you look at the second of the GW game on Sunday, they both Mendoker and Raymond both gave up 4 runs each, and when the offense isn't there, that's not. Yeah. I mean, if you can give up 4 runs each and the offense scores 12 runs, great. But when the offense isn't scoring, those pitchers really got to step in, and they didn't do that against George Washington. So I hope they turn that around for going forward.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we've been saying it all season, Like I just said, you can't win with offense alone. You can't win a season with offense alone. And I mean, we've been seeing games like that one loss against Fordham. They lost 17-11. If your offense is scoring 11 runs, you got to be able to win the game. So without a doubt, these young pitchers, they have to step up. We've been seeing some bright spots here and there, some good games that they've pitched, but they've got to become more consistently good.
Absolutely.
Especially with these tough road games coming up.
Now, do you think that having Amma Mendoka back in the lineup is going to make a big difference for them going into this road trip?
Well, I don't know how huge a difference it'll make. I mean, like I said, Emma Mendoker, decent at best. Before her before she left, most likely due to injury, and now she's back. Gradually working her way back. And she didn't even last the whole game, her first game back. So she's being gradually worked back into the rotation. So probably not going to have the most immediate big impact. But I think it's going to be helpful for the rotation to be able to have more than one pitcher, because considering they don't have someone quite like as talented as Sarah Plord pitching for the team now. So I think it'll help having 2 starters on that team. And Emma Mendoker has potential to become a good pitcher, particularly if the defense can back her up a little better. I mean, one other thing we're seeing, and I've been saying it all year, the defense has been really struggling behind these inexperienced pitchers. Error after error after error. We saw 2 key errors in that second game that led to runs scored, and it's just doesn't help when your defense isn't backing you up. It's harder to pitch.
Yep.
Well, we got to hope that the offense, defense, and pitching can all come together.
Got to all come together.
Yeah,
That's all we got to do.
Really just figure it out and hopefully get some wins along this 7-game road trip.
Absolutely.
Guys, thanks for joining me up here. Well, we got graduation right around the corner, and our very own UMass Sports Weekly correspondent, Natalie Sobleski, put together a senior send-off video dedication for all our senior athletes here at the school, so why don't you take a look.
My best game, I would say, as a team, when we were struggling to make playoffs. We had to beat Maine, and we came back and we beat Maine twice, and we made the playoffs.
Personally, my best game here as a player was last year's first game versus Army. At Army, we came out and I had my personal best, had 7 goals and 2 assists for 9 points, and I've never been able to do that here. I've had a couple of maybe 4 or 5 or 6 point games, but I shot really well and was able to put 7 in the back of the net, and we came out with the win, so I had to go with that. Would be my best game ever here.
Last year we played Towson in the CA semifinals. I had 4 goals and a behind-the-back goal, which was pretty cool. I've never scored one of those in a game, so I have to say personally as a performance that was my best.
Just this past year, I scored my first collegiate goal as a low defender, and I would have to say that was my best game. That was a really big moment for me.
Just after winning games, I think everybody, enjoys winning, obviously, so it's fun to just enjoy it with, a nice team song afterwards, and just everybody's really happy, so that's a lot of fun.
Have to be winning the CA championship last year. I'd never won a championship, so that was pretty cool. It was pretty surreal.
My best memory with my teammates is making our Bad to the Bone video for competition week, and it was really fun, and we drove around campus and acted like we were bad, and we ended up winning.
I'm going to miss my teammates the most about UMass and all of my friends, everyone that I've met here. I mean, you'll forget about the individual classes, but it's the people who you're with, at every step of the way that I'm definitely going to miss the most.
I would say the culture, for sure my teammates, and then just how awesome the school is. Like, there's a lot of history here, and of course, like the fans and all the home games. So.
I have to say lacrosse. I mean, my whole experience at UMass has been lacrosse, so I'm going to miss, as much as hard work as it is, I'm going to miss playing each day, and sort of just hanging out in the locker room is always a good time. So
definitely just coming to the locker room every day with your teammates and just being able to enjoy them. So it's definitely the biggest thing I miss.
Just the experience and the opportunity that myself, my teammates had to play here at a great school.
I'm going to miss the home games. I mean, those are always fun. Skating out to a huge crowd, playing in front of them is that's obviously really fun. So I'm going to miss that probably the most.
What I'm going to miss the most definitely at UMass is my friends, and school and lacrosse together, and kind of just the lifestyle, because when you go home, I'm going to have to get a job, so.
I'd say just enjoy every day with your teammates, because it goes by really fast, and you got to cherish every day. Like, it's going to be over soon, because for seniors it's pretty much over. So
just make every day count. When you first get here, you feel like you have a lot of time, and then it just shrinks down. So just enjoying every day.
I'll just say have fun. I mean, because it flies by. I mean, it flew by for me. So I mean, just enjoy every moment of it, because it really does fly by.
Don't live your life wishing. There's a lot of things that I've done here and I'm happy that I've done, but there's also a few things that I wish I would have done. So I'd say that's probably my biggest piece of advice.
Play with your heart. It's so important in everything you do to, go at it with your heart and play for all the right reasons, play for yourself, play for, all of your teammates, and play for your family and the people you love and who love you.
Keep working hard through the ups and downs. I know we've been part of really good seasons and kind of rough ones like this year. So to not let that take into effect when you're preparing, and just to keep striving forward.
Play each day like it's your last, because it goes really, really fast here, and I think you need to realize how much it should mean to you, and having the opportunity to play here is something special.
I would say really work hard in school and get good grades and just really push yourself to do your best.
Thank you for all the support, students, all fans of the team, my parents, everybody. Just thanks for all the support throughout the years at UMass. It's been a lot of fun.
My fans, I'll just like to thank them for showing up every game. Whether we're in last place or in first place, they come every day, and they cheer hard and they cheer loud. So I'll just like to thank them for coming every game.
Thanks for coming out every single game, whether it's BC or Providence. We really do have some of the best fans in all the college hockey, and it was a pleasure just knowing that when you're in the tunnel getting ready to come out that we hear a huge roar and getting ready to play a great game, and with their support, it really made us ready to come out and get a win.
Just thanks for coming out every game and making my 4 years really special, and it's something I'm never going to forget.
I'd say keep an eye out for the women's lacrosse team. We're pretty good, and we've had great records, these past 4 or 5 years, and I think just keep an extra eye out. We're a good team to follow, and we make big plays and make big things happen on campus. So
Thank you for the support, and I hope it continues throughout the next couple of years, and I'll be coming back, so hopefully everyone will support the team throughout the next couple of years, and just want to thank you for my time here.
For those out there, I guess thanks for the support, and keep rooting these guys on.
Thanks for the support and the love, always being there in the rain and the storms and traveling wherever we're going. We have great fans.
As we go on, we remember all the times we had together.
Welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly for the Roundup. Now we have a very special segment for you today. Joining me at the table is your normal Joey Sade. Joey, thanks for joining me. We're all used to you around here. But our very special guest just across the way, our beloved director, Michael Kunos. Now, he was scared to get on the show tonight, fellas. He didn't want to get in front of the camera. We forced him on because he would have caught a lot if he didn't. So here in the Roundup, we like to cover stuff that we didn't get to cover in the show. And today, one thing we didn't really get to cover was the Red Sox. Not a lot of mention for the Red Sox. You can see Kunos is a fan, rocking the hat, ready to talk. Now, we're seeing some, I'd say, surprising success from the Red Sox to start the season. New roster, knew they were going to be an okay team, but they're up there with some of the best right now. Kunos, I'll start with you. What's some of your favorite things you've seen from the Red Sox this season?
I'm going to start with Napoli. I'm liking Napoli a lot. He's not going to hit for average at all this year, but just the power numbers he's bringing and leading the MLB in RBIs right now. That's impressive. I think last night he knocked in his 21st RBI. So really just seeing production out of him. Seeing Ortiz come back, that's nice, and come back into hitting, not being in a slump right off the bat. And then really, it's just the pitching this year is really impressive me. Lester and Buchholz are an excellent one, too. And then the bullpen, they're closing games, too. Hanrahan had a couple real tough outings, like 3 in a row. But since then, they've kind of figured it out. Ishikawa is the Japanese.
Uehara?
Or Uehara, yeah. Something like that. But
he's good. He can pitch.
He throws strikes and it's good.
That's what matters. You just need a guy throwing strikes up there. You were close. You tried. It's all right. Now, you mentioned Napoli. I think he had a nice Italian Grand Salami last night, if I'm not mistaken. So, you see those RBIs really stacking up. Joey, what are you seeing from the Sox that you like as well?
I think Mike hit the nail on the head with the pitching. And I think going into the season, the number one question was how are Leicester and Buckholz going to play, and they've came out 7-0. You know, they're perfect 7-0 on their starts. You know, Buckholz has under 1.0 ERA and Leicester's under 2. And you see Dempster, he hasn't won a game yet. He's 0 for 2, but he leads the team in strikeouts with 33. And I don't think, while some people predicted the Red Sox to be maybe 4th or 5th in the division, they're obviously 13-6 right now, and they're 1st in the division. I don't know if that's going to hold up because we're not even an 1/8 of the way through the season yet. So just to see how the offense, if it continues, if Ortiz can find his way back into the lineup. You see Pedroia hitting, Middlebrooks, you know, he's got 5 home runs. He's been struggling of late, but, you know, every hit he gets is a home run, although there are not many hits. You got Daniel Nava, surprisingly, coming up big as well. Jackie Bradley Jr. started the year. He's kind of slumped off a little bit. Some people were kind of high expectations for the rookie as well. But I think Mike said everything. You know, Napoli's coming in, and a lot of people didn't like the Napoli signing because, you know, he's old, and what's he going to bring to the Red Sox? And he's fit in perfectly. So I think as long as the pitching keeps on doing what the pitching is doing, led by, Buckholz and Leicester, which they didn't play, obviously, well last year. I think there's no way to go but up for this Red Sox team considering the way they played last year.
Yeah, pitching's been really spectacular. The only thing with Napoli, maybe someone should tell him to button that top button. I'm a little sloppy out there, but if he's producing, you know, really can't complain.
I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I'm actually excited for Lackey to come back.
Oh.
He just made a good start, or rehab start, through about 65 pitches, I think. Only 2 hits and no earned runs, I believe. So I think he's going to come back and he's going to be strong. Like I said, all those chicken salads that he's been eating, I think they're going to pay off this year. He's going to get us 15 games.
Yeah, I heard he's on the Busch Lights now, too,
Yeah.
so he's really cutting down for his team. So it should be good to see him come back into the lineup. Could always use more pitching help. Now, we got to talk about UMass a little bit. Some big facilities being put into the area. The football team is getting some facilities right next to the football stadium, as well as the basketball team getting some facilities right next to the basketball stadium, Mullen Center. So that ceremony is happening on Friday to get those kicked off. Mike, what do these facilities mean for these programs?
To be honest with you, it's all about recruiting. You're going to bring in UMass it's showing that they're really making a push to make us a stronger athletic program as a whole. And you start with the basketball and football teams. So just by having state-of-the-art training facilities, when recruits come and are checking out UMass, they're going to say, wow, okay, this is actually a very legit school to go to. I'd like to be part of this team. And it's just going to, over the years, I think it's really going to just trickle down, and we're going to start seeing our programs be a whole lot stronger. In particular, I think basketball is going to catch on, is going to get better quicker. Football, I think, is still going to take a little while, but it's obviously making the right improvements. And then along with that, there's going to be a new press box and stuff like that. So not only is McGurk and the experience for all the students and fans going to be better, but the experience as an athlete on the football and basketball teams are going to be better as well.
Now, Joey, do you think we'll see these repercussions of better recruiting because of these facilities happen real quick? He said basketball. Obviously, football will take a little longer. You got more teams to just get into D1. But with basketball, you think you see this recruiting really start to pick up?
You know, it all depends on how quick they get built, both the facilities, I think so. And I think the football team has to do something, considering they moved to the FBS, and we all saw how badly they played. Considering obviously it was their first season, so we weren't really expecting for them to play that great. So, you know, maybe the recruiting, it does help the recruiting. The recruits come in here, they see, you know, there's a great sports atmosphere. It's a great sports school, which, you know, UMass is being known for, but not as of late because our teams haven't been performing as well as they could be. So maybe the recruits come in here and they say, you know what, we know UMass for its name. We see that they're trying to upgrade they're actually trying, you know, to upgrade their sports programs. Because I know a lot of sports programs that, you know, one of my friends plays at Marist College, and they had a coach who's 24-year tenure, and he's never been over 500. So there's a lot of schools out there that just don't, you know, although they have sports teams, they don't really care about upgrading that. So I think for UMass to go in there, and not just try to upgrade their team, but upgrade the facilities, upgrade the environment in general, I think that's going to help the recruitment.
I think you're right. The environment's a big thing. Not only is it just the athletes that they're recruiting, but as students, when you come here, you want to be able to go see a good sports game and stuff. This year sucked when we used to have to go to Gillette. That was not fun. Went for homecoming, but nobody went into the games. We all just went to the bars. So it's just really nice that this year we're going to be able to go to a game, hopefully, and you're being able to see the new facilities and stuff like that. And it'll be just fun the whole tailgate atmosphere is really something that was missing. I know my senior year, that was something that I used to enjoy in past years, but I didn't get this year. So I think it's going to be something great for the students as well.
Now, they're adding on the facilities, but one of the big problems was with the field and the seating, and that's why it got taken to Gillette, because you have to have a certain amount of seating. Now, is this facility addition going to be also adding on to the seating and make the games be able to come back to the stadium?
Yeah, what they're also doing is they're renovating McGurk. So there's going to be, like I said, there's new press box for Division I. There has to be certain regulations with the press box. And then along with that, I think they're making just improvements to the stadium in general. I think it's an old stadium, to tell you the truth. So really, they're just upgrading everything. As you can see, UMass is kind of a war zone right now anyways, with all the construction all around campus. So it's really nothing different than all the students are used to right now.
Let's touch on this construction around this campus now. I have a lot of classes that they're spaced in some funky areas, and I have my shortcuts that I've developed over my time here at this school. Now, there's construction everywhere. Do you think they should put a little bit of this money that they're investing in a new science building to put behind the new science building and maybe invest it in their students a little bit?
I agree. I mean, I don't know how we'd invest it in our students, like maybe better spring concert or something like that. That would be nice. I mean, I like Big Sean was good, but I wouldn't mind seeing Drake or Lil Wayne.
Cobra Star? What's Cobra Starship?
I sat down through the whole thing. Good Girls Gone Bad. Like, come on.
But a bunch of my friends left during the concert because they came on. They got pushed out of the concert by one of the performers. What is that? I think they should let us here at UMass Sports Weekly put on something. Even though it's a concert, let us get an athlete in here to talk. Victor Cruz or something. Shout out Chris Corso, right?
Yeah.
You got that interview.
Yep.
Joey, I want to get your opinion on the construction as well, because it's very frustrating to me. I want to see you're very calm, you're a very seduced kind of guy, but I know you can get angry sometimes, mostly about the Celtics. I feel like you're composing some anger about this construction. How do you feel about it?
I'll tell you my daily schedule. First of all, it's an obstacle course. To get to Hasbrook, I think I ran faster to Hasbrook to classes. I was late once than I ever ran in my entire life. Because the streets are ridiculous. The pavement is horrible.
It's unreal.
There's construction everywhere you look. And I think it's just horrible for even recruiting students. Because although they try to pitch the idea that, oh, look, we have new buildings. Like, these buildings aren't going to be, they've taken 4 or 5 years to already be building. So kids they're recruiting aren't even going to be able to get the chance to, live with them. And I think especially it sucks for my generation of, my class, because I think it even goes back to high school. My class has had the crappiest luck when it comes to construction in schools. My high school had some construction, and now even this class at UMass is having really a lot of construction as well.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. They got it around the library. They got it around every building. So, kudos. I mean, you probably had some great years here at this school, but I'm sure the construction is making it a little bit easier for you to get out of here. I'm sure the cops are also doing the same.
Yeah.
What'd you like most about UMass Amherst?
I mean, we'll call it cheesy, but like my friends and stuff like that. Way to put me on the spot. No, I mean, honestly, my freshman and sophomore year, it was awesome. It was like Animal House. The parties I used to go to were a lot of fun, and then the damn pigs.
It's just falling off.
Actually, I can't say that after the whole boss.
No, the farms.
Yeah,
it's just like the stench. It's just taken out. It's just made it a rough environment to try to go out and party when all you can smell is pigs everywhere. So we've been adjusting. What's your plans for this summer? What's your plans post graduation?
Well, I'm applying for jobs pretty much right now. I'm trying to get into sports production. Right now, I haven't really reeled anything in.
Yep.
But
you're fishing.
Yeah, I'm out there fishing right now. Right now, I'm kind of just looking forward to graduation. Looking forward to drinking a lot of beer.
There you go. A little more Animal House action.
Some golf. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not really looking too forward to real life right now. We're gonna postpone that at least until June when my lease is up.
There you go. Well, we wish you best of luck entering the career field. I know we really appreciate you as a director. You've done a great job with the show, and we're gonna miss you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, it's been a good year. Thanks, guys, behind the cameras hanging out. Kunos, thanks to you again. And, of course, got to give a shout-out to Katie Sosnowski. Great producer. You've done a great job. I know she's watching. Hi, Katie. All right, well, that's our show for tonight. It's unfortunate we won't be back next week, but we'll see you next semester. Same time, same place.